What's going on, guys? Tackle Junkie 81 here for Mystery Tackle Box, and today I'm going to show you guys there's more than one way to swim a jig. All right, guys, let's talk gear. Now, if I'm in open water like I am right now, no vegetation around, I like a 7-foot. This one here is a 7'2", medium heavy, fast action rod. Normally 15 to 17 pound fluorocarbon. Okay. Either a 6-speed or a 7-speed reel. This one here is a 6.6. Most guys these days like those higher gear ratio reels. I'm old school. You know, I like the lower, I like the power. You know, I like just to lean back on them and just grind them in. Use whatever works for you. Both have, you know, benefits to them. You know, if fish is coming at you, obviously a higher gear ratio reel is better to catch up to them. Again, I like a 6-speed. Use whatever works best for you. If I'm around vegetation, I'll go to a heavy power rod, and then I go to 50-pound braid. Okay, keep it pretty simple. Fluorocarbon, open water, braid around grass, and then I up the power of my rod. So what I look for in a swim jig is a tapered head and somewhat of a flat bottom. That way it comes through vegetation really well, it planes really fast if you're trying to keep it up in the water column. Another jig that you can use is the Trashmaster jig. Again, it's got a tapered head on it. What's nice about the Trashmaster is it has that little screw keeper on there. You go ahead and thread that into your soft plastic. We got a Velcro on here. Thread that in there, keeps it up on the hook. Of course, you can rig it weedless, and then it'll come through your grass and things like that. But as far as picking color and trailer, you know, match the conditions, match what the fish are feeding on. So, you know, I fish pretty muddy water majority of the time, so I like my whites, you know, like my shad type colors, and I like black and blue just because they stand out the most. But I mean, a shad type color really is going to work really in any, you know, water clarity, whether you got clear water or muddy water. I've never had an issue at all trying to get bit, you know, with white. But, you know, if you have a lot of bluegill in the ponds that you're fishing, you know, a green pumpkin is a great choice as well. But again, just match the trailer to whatever it is you're trying to imitate. If you're trying to imitate a crawfish, use a crawfish trailer. If you're trying to imitate, you know, a shad or a bluegill, use a baitfish trailer. You know, again, we were using the 𝗙𝗻𝗋𝗶 today. That's one of my go-tos right there. Carl's Amazing Baits, the freestyle, another option there. One of my favorites is the Rage Menace. Okay, so again, just pick the trailer, you know, to match the conditions, to match whatever it is that you're trying to imitate, and you'll be good to go. Some of the mods that I like to do, you know, if I'm looking for some flash, I'll add a little, you know, double willow on there. You can get yourself a swivel and like a single Colorado, just add one there in the center. I'll also add like a double rattle, just like this as well. I'll even do like the little boot rattles on there. Again, fishing that muddy water, I love the rattles. Little boot rattle on there. You know, I'm always looking for that extra noise and things like that. But even scent, you know, I usually spray a lot of scent on my jigs. This skirt holds a lot of scent. I'll soak those in scent. Again, that works really well in that muddy water. Fishermen have been swimming a jig for many, many years. And I'm probably older than majority of you guys watching this video. And just like everyone else years ago, the go-to trailer for swimming a jig was a chunk. Okay, but we all know a chunk doesn't have any action. So you have to give the bait the action. So what you would do, you'd throw her out. And what you'd have to do is you pump the rod, okay? Just like that. Steady reel and pump the rod. And what that's doing is making the chunk and the skirt kind of undulate in the water, just giving it some action. Now, just like everything else, the technique, the trailers have evolved over the years. And now really, like I said, with the trailers out these days, you don't need to actually give the jig the action. You can just throw it out and reel it in. A little story time here. Years ago, again, when I was swimming a jig, the lakes that I normally fish had a ton of grass in them. Okay, normally that's what you hear, swim jigs and grass. So again, I'm always swimming the jig through grass, okay? Well, as the years go on, all the grass started dying off in the lakes that I fish. Again, but I was like a die-hard swim jig fisherman. I loved tossing the swim jig. Once the grass all died off, I still wanted to use the technique. So I would still throw the swim jig pretty much in all the areas that I would toss a spinnerbait. And you know what? I'd still get bit. So you don't need grass to fish a swim jig. I fish a swim jig, like I said, pretty much wherever I fish a spinnerbait, a chatterbait, even like a crankbait, okay? You just kind of have to let the fish, the conditions really tell you what they want. You know, if you have the perfect day for a spinnerbait with all the flash, toss a spinnerbait. But let's say you don't want the flash, well, go to the swim jig. You know, basically, if you look at a spinnerbait and a swim jig, the swim jig is a spinnerbait without the flash, without the blades, okay? So again, I toss them in the same spots that I would a spinnerbait. And another thing, let's say you're in a lot of grass and things like that, and normally you toss a spinnerbait. Well, again, a spinnerbait, I mean, the weak point is the arm. If you're in a lot of grass and big fish, you start really pulling on that spinnerbait, eventually it's gonna break on you. You know, with a swim jig, you got a nice heavy gauge hook on there. You know, they can handle a lot more pressure, I guess you would say, versus a spinnerbait. So really there's a time and a place for all baits. But like I said, you can toss a swim jig where you would other baits. And again, just let the conditions and the fish really tell you what they want. But as far as like weights and things like that go, if I'm around grass or I'm really shallow, normally I throw a quarter. If we got some wind like we got out here today, you know, 3/8 or half, okay? But with the grass and the lighter weights, if you throw a half in the grass, it's just gonna get you, you know, snagged up more often. You're gonna be digging in the grass versus staying on top of the grass. So if you're around a lot of vegetation and things like that, lighter weights will come through the grass much better than a heavier weight. If you're, again, more open water, you got windy days like we have today, you know, heavier weights, 3/8, half, things like that. And you can still adjust the depth of the swim jig just by raising and lowering your rod. So anyways, that's pretty much the gist of a swim jig. Today, you know, we don't have a whole lot of grass in this section of the pond right here. We have a little swim bait on there, Biospawn Lures XO Swim and 3/8 ounce swim jig. And we're just gonna throw her out. You can just steady reel it in. And what do you know? First cast, we got a bass. Not a big one. Just make a few more casts here. So we catch a couple more fish, then we'll go into the gear and all that. Ooh. Right at the bank. Little joker. We'll take him though. Get on the XO Swim. So I'm going to show you guys too. You may notice I have this swim bait rigged upside down. Now you get plenty of kick even though it's rigged upside down, but I wanted that white on the bottom. So again, that's how I have it rigged that way. Fishing pretty shallow here, it's pretty stained up. I figure they're going to be looking up at the bait again just because I'm trying to stay above them. So I wanted them to see that white. But again, plenty of kick even though it's rigged upside down. If you feel a little grass, just pop your rod, it'll come right through it. Ooh. Another one right at my feet. A little better one there. A little better one. Swim jig, XO Swim, probably at least a 2, maybe 2 1/4. Well guys, as you can see, there's more than one way to swim a jig. If you want to use that old school chunk, just be sure to pop the rod, you know, during the retrieve to give it some action. If not, you know, pick yourself out a swim bait or a craw and let the trailer do the work. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you guys on the next one.